Hello, I'm Marie Hugley, a transformative leadership practitioner, writer, creator, and proud mom to a 13-year-old girl.
Mm.
Okay, so imagine looking out to the top of a mountain. You know you have to climb. At the top, you see a field of the most coveted flowers blossoming. You know that this is a place that you want to be, but you also know that the journey will be through rugged and steep terrain. My project is called A Steep Bloom, and it's about community and empowering single working mothers to thrive through shared narrative and real life inspiration. Like it or not, the Center for American Progress stated that there are approximately 7.3 million single mothers in the US as of 2023. I thought, how cool would it be to interview women who are really immersed in the journey, no matter how temporary or permanent, in the advocacy and in the game of life, in survival and manifesting and creating abundance. So, my intent is to interview women who are doing amazing things and have really beat the odds and have an interest in sharing their personal story. A lot is happening to us, for us, against us, and by us. It flies by, and we barely have time to reflect on it. So, with that, I would like to welcome Nikki Weldon, who's a PhD student at the California Institute of Integral Studies and a single mom. So, welcome, Nikki.
Thank you.
So, my first
That's
question would
beautiful.
be, thank you. Yeah. So, my first question is just tell us a little bit about your backstory, whatever you feel comfortable sharing, where basically what brought you to where you are today in the program.
Okay. Well, I am a mother to three adult children. My youngest is 20, so he will tell me he's an adult now. Um, and my oldest is almost 30. And I had my first son when I was 23, almost 24. Um, Always knew that I wanted to be a mom, always knew that it was a possibility that I would be doing it as a single mother. My mother was single. My aunties, the whole neighborhood had a lot of single mothers. Um, so I went into education, which is something I do love, and really found that there was my work as an educator helped me as a parent. My work as a parent helped me as an educator. So it was a really great profession to be in for the time that I did it. I have since moved and done other things in social services and family support systems and education, and now I am at CIIS working on a PhD in transformative studies.
Wow. I love that. Well, I'm so happy that I was connected with you at
Mhm.
CIS, and I just think I think that your kids are really lucky to have you, especially with the way that you focus on education and what you were saying about how both of those things kind of feed into each other, parenting and
Mhm.
education. And I agree.
Mhm.
I think that's wonderful. Do you think there was a time or like a moment when momentum was speeding up and all good things started happening? Like, was there like a mental switch or like a just a certain like an event in your life where you felt like, okay, this now things are starting to make sense, or now things are coming together the right way?
Yeah, I think that I've had several of those, right? Like, you get to a point where everything seems to be clicking, and then maybe something happens, and something is a little barrier in your way. So you have to kind of get your momentum back up. So I think that um, everything really was clicking, and I felt great when my children were younger. Like I said, like just being a preschool and kindergarten teacher initially. While they were young, I felt like everything was just working together. They went to the same school where I taught.
Oh,
Hours were
nice.
great, summers together. We did a lot of educational things
Mm.
together. And it was a great time. I was single for most of that time and initially was very concerned, having at that time I had two children. Um, just concerned about becoming a statistic, having my children become statistics. But I think it really was a blessing that certain people were removed from my life at that time, and I was able to focus on my kids and my career at the time, and everything really clicked. And then, I had some down moments and had to kind of get my momentum back up. And I would say the most recent upturn happened in 2022 when I turned 50 and just something just shifted. That's when I applied for this program. Not really knowing what I wanted to do, but knowing that I've always wanted a PhD and I was going to do it. So, um, yeah, so a few years ago when I turned 50, it was another one of those like, yes, I'm in my element now.
Yeah. Yes, I can relate to that. I know. So in terms of like, want to go back a little bit, you said that you thinking about being a statistic and stuff. Like, how
Mm,
does that? It's interesting how some people feel about that, right? So sometimes it motivates us to do good things, and sometimes I think it can motivate us to make choices that maybe aren't the best, just to not be a statistics. Like, do you feel
mm,
like it kind of,
mhm.
um, single Black mom, right? Like, how do
Yeah.
you feel that was that like an intense like resilience that you developed because of that, like in a lot of ways because of that, or at some point did you like just let go of it completely, the threat of this like being that statistic, or I don't know. I think about that a lot too. So
Yeah, I think that I wasn't really worried about me being a statistic, but having something happen where my children made certain decisions and then, they were this, oh, well, of course that
yeah,
happened because they come from a single parent home. I I
right.
think I think I held on to it for a long time. I didn't hold on to it long enough to stay in a bad relationship, so that was
Mhm.
good. But
Yeah,
I did give that other parent lots and lots of chances to um, to be involved and hid some of their shortcomings from my
sure,
kids when
sure.
not that you involve them in adult business, but it wasn't until recently, in their mid to late 20s where they learned certain things and had to learn the hard way about their other parent. So,
Mm,
um, yeah, I think I gave lots and lots of chances and kind of some covering where maybe it wasn't due.
mm, mm,
Um, yeah, I think I was more concerned with them and poured a lot into them, but I loved it. So I would have,
yeah.
I feel like I would have done that anyway.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Yeah, so with that, like, so you went more of like, okay, you just wanted to make sure that they were maybe had as much or even more as some other kids because and
Mhm.
that they were not going to become affected by that situation, by this
Right.
situation. So yeah, I get that. Um, let's talk a little bit about like your support system. So like
Hmm.
contemplating like curating circles of support for ourselves. Personally, I think that there is a lot of untapped community waiting for us once we get strategic about the type of people we want in our lives, or the type of people we want influencing lives. Um, I guess so. My question is, did you have a support system, and what do you think about this curating circles of support? Like, what does that look like to you, or what do you imagine that would be to you?
Yeah, I think when I first became a parent, I didn't really have much support outside of family. I had
Yeah.
great family support, right?
Okay.
Um, but outside of family, I didn't really have like a sister circle or anything like that. As they got older, I did curate friends with their friends' parents.
Hmm.
So, the play groups and things of that nature. Um, Really about the teen years, especially with this last one, I
Hmm.
really needed support, and I really was intentional about yeah, finding it. I had moved to Washington State, so I was far from everyone that I knew previously, and I was really intentional about like I want a circle of friends, And, I'm going to go to this meetup. I'm going to go to this event because I want this circle of friends. So I was really intentional about that and created some really great connections.
It's really, I think that it's great. Like once we realize that we have that power to kind of create those, I
Hmm.
mean, you seek people, sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't, but like we have
Hmm.
that power to be able to go and find um maybe not a best friend, but people that
Hmm.
completely understand your path, or maybe they're on the same path, or they want to be a resource for you. And then, because you intentionally went out and looked for that and you found it. And
Right.
then it's like it just makes it brings up like just the idea of abundance in general and how there's so many
Hmm.
things that are possible in our lives if we're kind of like really strategic about those types of things. So I think that's
Hmm.
great. Let's see. Okay, so how do you feel that you've manifested things in your life? Like how do you stay hopeful and resilient? I guess that's a two-part question. Yeah.
Yeah. First, I had to get honest, right? Like
Mm,
even when I'm thinking about my circle of friends, I had a lot of independence thinking, a lot of I should be able to do this by myself. I don't want anybody to know where I'm falling short. And I really had to sit with that and get honest about that
mhm, mhm,
um, with myself, but then also learn how to be in relationship and community as an authentic, honest person, right? So,
mhm.
um, and it just seems like once that block was out of the way, then I was able to get honest about things that I desired, like a circle of friends, like safety in a relationship, like being able to save more money. Um, but it really started with that, okay, let's take an honest inventory of who I am, what I really want, what might be stopping me.
That's
And
great.
then I think I forgot the second part. So,
Oh yeah, so it was basically
okay.
how do you stay hopeful and resilient? Like how do you maintain like a positive outlook when things are maybe
Um,
a little more
yeah.
challenging
Uh,
or
Lots
maybe
of
how
strategy.
maybe when they were younger, maybe too, however.
Hmm. Um, Lots of strategies, like self-care, mental wellness strategies, but also like just being outside every
Mhm.
day and not just being outside, but really viewing nature as like this blueprint, right? Like I would look at a tree and see like the limbs are not all the same shape or size, but it's still a perfect tree, right? Like so if
Yeah,
my side of the nose is crooked or this is crooked or I'm gaining weight during perimenopause, like I'm still like this perfect being in terms of like I am who I am supposed to be. Um During the lockdown, got into gardening and just really it taught
mm,
me the the patience to have faith. You plant seeds, you don't know what's going to grow, but you have faith and you keep curating this loving environment for the seed to grow. Um, and if I can do that for a tomato plant, right? Like I could do that for myself.
right,
So,
right.
yeah, nature has been such a big part of like just me becoming a more optimistic, faith-driven person.
Yeah. Do you feel like you got more acquainted with that at CIIS in terms of ecological sense making and things like that? Or is this something that you just
It was
kind of just moved
before.
through, before? Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Mm,
before, but I think a lot of the ecological, and then I was taking classes about ecofeminism. I think
mm,
that really clicked with me because of
okay.
some of the work that I had done previously. It's like,
Uh,
oh, this makes sense. These are my
okay.
people. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I haven't taken any of those particular classes yet, but
Mhm.
I'm intrigued. I wish I had
Mhm.
more semesters to take more
I
classes. I
know.
feel
The
like
coursework
I
goes
know.
quick.
Yeah, like every all of a sudden I'm like, wait a second, I want to take like all these other classes. So maybe there'll be some auditing in the future. But
Right.
I just want to
Yeah.
go back for a second to what you said about honesty. And I just think that that
Hmm.
is so important that we become self-aware and grounded. And also like because understanding boundaries so that we know when to set those boundaries with
Hmm.
others or our environment or our children, just so that for their benefit, right? Obviously all of this is it's for ourselves, but obviously for our families that we created.
Hmm.
So we
Hmm.
but if we don't take care of ourselves, we just don't have enough left to do the right things for or to
Yeah.
really kind of uplift our kids and make sure that
Hmm.
we're making the right kind of decisions. But I do think that honesty is like there are a lot of people that haven't really done the work or even just through journaling or maybe they're just tired and they don't have time to do the work, but how do we motivate, how can people just kind of decide to, okay, I'm going to learn how to be self-aware, I'm going to learn how to be emotionally intelligent, I'm going to learn how to stay grounded and be mindful and things like that. It is really important to really understand who we are and to like be honest about our real situation. Like what is our situation like in reality, not what you want it to be, or
Right.
what maybe not what it was 5 years ago, but what it is
Hmm.
right now. So yeah,
Right.
yeah. Um, okay, so
Hmm.
what do you think drives your ambition right now?
Ooh, I'm stubborn.
Okay.
I am.
That's good. That's
Right,
good. Yeah.
I am in this program. Like I said, I'm 53 now. Uh, I don't necessarily know exactly what I want to do afterwards. I
Hmm.
just know
Hmm.
that this is the first step towards something, and it doesn't really make sense to a lot of people. You know, it makes sense
Mm.
to people who are in school with me.
Right. Right.
Um, Other people, it doesn't really make sense. I don't need it for, to teach. I don't need a PhD to work in child welfare, right? Like I
Yeah.
don't need it. Um, so I just have I said I was going to do this and I'm going to do it and I'm going to
Yeah.
prove people wrong. So I'm a little stubborn.
Yeah.
Um, but also I just, a lot of this I was doing on my own anyway. I was
Mm.
reading and I was researching and I was journaling about certain things and I was noticing in my jobs where there has to be a better way. So let me look up what does the research say? Like, so I was doing a lot of this anyway, because I just,
Yeah.
I'm just curious and these
Yeah.
topics are important.
Yeah. And you're in transformative inquiry, right? Is that
Yeah,
your PhD or
transformative
is it
studies. Yes.
transformative studies?
Yeah.
I agree. Curiosity
Hmm.
is a huge motivation and a
Hmm.
huge for ambition too. And
Hmm.
I think like like maybe that you're not sure exactly what the actual job is when you're done, but but everything that you're learning is like just transforming your reality in terms of what everything looks like when you leave your house or just in your house or in your mind. I
Hmm.
mean, it's the it's so powerful what it does to us to be in these programs and to learn these particular subjects and how it can transform your life and your kids' lives. And I think that's when you get there, you'll figure it out because it's
Right.
maybe it'll just like emerge, right? So
Right. Right. Yeah.
yeah.
It's definitely worth it. I remember when I first started and during the intensive, they said something about like, you're going to have a transformation yourself. And I was like, oh, that's cute. But really, like intense transformation for the last few years. Yeah, just a lot of growth personally, definitely
Mhm.
academically, but a lot of growth personally. Um, I'm very thankful to be here.
Mhm. Yeah, there's that self-inquiry, I think, is a huge part, at least in the TLD
Hmm.
program.
Hmm.
That's what my experience is.
Right.
And that is, I was not expecting that. And it
Yeah.
has helped me so much. So,
Hmm.
so yeah. Um, so how do you think your children have been influenced by your journey, your academic journey, or this PhD program, or just your
Hmm.
ambition towards something new?
Yeah, I think the my last child, my youngest, especially has been impacted because he was
Mhm.
the one who was home. The other ones were out of the house when I started, and he was home, and he struggled in high school.
Mhm.
His freshman year was the year of the lockdown. So there
Mhm.
was that whole transition. But before that, we had been homeschooling because middle school was tough. Um, a lot of anxiety and school refusal, and so we just had to do what we had to
Oh, so you
do.
went that route. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
How did that go to transition to homeschooling?
Well, I had homeschooled my older children during middle school as well.
Oh, that's right. And you're also a
Um,
teacher. So, so
Yeah,
there's that,
yeah. So
right? Yeah.
I yeah, so I had, and we did a kind of combination of I knew they wanted to go to public school for high school, so I followed the curriculum pretty closely. Gave
Mhm.
them some freedom, but really followed the curriculum. With my youngest, though, it was a little tougher because it wasn't just the school environment wasn't right. It was like his mental health, his
Mm.
depression and anxiety. So we had to really focus on some of that. And I wasn't teaching at the time. I was doing parenting education and therapy for families involved with child welfare. So
Mm.
I
Okay.
had I was on crisis support,
Hmm.
24-hour coverage
Mm.
sometimes. So it was
Oh
like
my gosh.
trying to manage that, and his schooling was a little bit difficult. But I
Hmm.
think that I was worried really about him because I knew that it would maybe take away some of the time, but it really was great. Like we would
Hmm.
just be at the dining room table doing our work together. He's
Hmm.
on his computer doing his schoolwork, I'm doing mine. We're comparing things that are difficult, talking about different strategies. And so I think that it was good. It was good for him to see that. It made him more focused on school.
Hmm.
He was able to homeschool, um, graduate from high school. He took a gap year off, saved some money. Now he's a freshman in college.
Oh,
And
that's great.
yeah,
Congratulations. That's great. You
thank
made it
you. Thank
through,
you.
right? You
Oh,
made it
yeah,
through.
he's come so far. He's come so
Yeah.
far. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. So I'm actually in that phase with my daughter who's 13. So like we sit
Hmm.
at the table and and I'm doing work and she's doing work.
Yeah.
But she's at that phase where she doesn't really listen to a lot of what I say if I try to talk too much about it, but she
Hmm.
hears what I'm doing. She hears like the meetings that I'm on or
Hmm.
all the conversations that I'm having regarding, sometimes I might rehearse something with her, like read something to her, and she's like, oh, but I think that
Yes.
overall, it is affecting them, right? It does affect
Yeah.
them. It's a
Yeah,
positive thing. So yeah.
for sure.
Um, okay, so next, what do you think? What are a few non-negotiables when it comes to thriving as a single working mom? Like character traits, most important structures to put in place, lifestyle, home requirements, like that.
Um, yeah, guilt-free time away.
Oh, I like that. Guilt-free.
I
Guilt-free. That's really
guilt-free. That's the
important.
key. Yes.
That's key.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
My eldest children did, go to their father's house, some weekends,
Yeah.
and I was, okay with that. They
Hmm.
spent some Christmases, and it was okay. It was going to be okay.
Yeah.
Um, And even then, I would spend, like, I was kind of bored, but I would spend a lot of time outside, go to the movies by myself, go out to eat by myself. Oh, goodness, just grocery shopping when they were young, being able to grocery shop by myself was
Hmm.
fantastic. Um, but yeah, guilt-free. My mom watched the kids, took them on
It's
vacation. Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah. So that's a non-negotiable, which is why you need community, right? Like
Yes,
that's you
yes.
may not be
Because you
able to
probably
spend
didn't
your
have that when you moved, right? Like when you moved away from your family, you
right,
didn't really have that. So, yeah.
right. I didn't have that as much, but even then, my older children were nearly grown, right?
Mm,
So they watched their younger brother. They were
perfect.
20, 21, so they watched their younger brother. Um, while I went away with some girls for the weekend. So I was able to do that. And my son is pretty extroverted, so he always had somebody he was going to spend the night with or hang out with. So
Mm-hmm. Oh,
yeah,
that's
so
good.
so so necessary.
Yeah.
And mindset wise, I really think it's just really believing that you have or they have, the world has everything that your children need, right? So maybe there wasn't somebody in the house who knew how to tie a tie without looking it up on YouTube. But hey, YouTube exists, right? So I
Right,
can
right.
learn and I can teach, right? And I have brothers and we have uncles, to
Yeah.
get the male perspective. And yeah, just you can find what you need for your children.
Yeah. And I think in 2026, like let's just be realistic, families look different for everyone.
Yeah,
They really look different,
yeah.
and
Hmm.
there, yeah, same thing with my daughter, just having those other male figures in her life are still, those are very important as well. And they offer a different perspective too. So, and then
Hmm.
just in regards to the guilt-free thing, like I find that it's so easy to even just go to the store and you're buying something for yourself or you're getting your nails done, right? You get your nails done and you're like, oh, and I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many times I think about like what I could be spending that money on for my daughter. And I'm
Yeah.
like, but this is for me and it's okay.
Yeah.
I deserve
Yeah.
to, be pampered a little bit once in a while. It's not like, all the time. But I mean, even if it was all the time, I think we deserve to find that balance because we
Hmm.
gotta take care of ourselves too. So
Yeah. Every time I go on a little weekend trip or a vacation, I'm always
yeah.
thinking, ooh, when I come back and bring the kids, right?
Yeah.
We can do
Yes,
this.
yeah. Mhm. Uh,
But I'll go and I'll have fun, but I'm still thinking, yeah, I'd like to bring the kids here. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, same thing for me. And actually next time I'm thinking like who is she? She's going to stay with some friends and family because I'm
Hmm.
gonna go have a trip because I haven't done that in so long. But
Yeah.
you want to make sure that they have everything that they need and that they feel
Hmm.
I think like she's just at the point where she can where we've done I've done the work. I feel like she's at the point where she can make a good judgment for the most part. So
Hmm.
you have to
Hmm.
sometimes just, it's okay to let go a little bit and let them go stay with somebody else. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that actually concludes my list of
Okay.
questions. And I just wanted to thank you again for joining and for being a
Yeah,
part of
you're
my project
welcome.
and this capstone. And I think that you've really helped your participation has really been invaluable. So thank you.
You're welcome. This is fantastic. Yeah, I'm looking forward to your completion.